I didn't have anybody who ever taught me what a foundation of identity is. So therefore, if somebody kind of comes against it, then I can evaluate it like, okay, which is real? Instead, you just accept whatever somebody says because no one's taught you anything about identity.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast today. The last podcast, I had some special guests. The kids were in here, and today my hubby's back. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
The hubby's back in the house.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
Let me guess. You have a question for me.
I do.
I figure.
Well, it is fall now. Just started being fall.
It's beautiful out.
And so I do have a couple questions. One is, why did the apple pie cross the road?
I'm not sure.
It saw a fork up ahead. Why did the apple pie cry?
It was getting eaten? I don't know.
Its peelings were hurt.
That's silly. That's silly.
All right, what are we talking about?
We have all kinds of good topics to talk about. I feel like life has been super busy, just like probably everybody's, now that everyone's in the routine of school and sports and moving into the holidays. I can hardly believe before we know it, we're literally going to be having Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the year is going to end. But the topic today I wanted to chat about, which I'm actually very excited about, and then I think you and I have, probably expressed it other times in smaller segments here, but the topic of, raising our kids to know who they are before they allow somebody else to kind of dictate who they are, or social media to dictate who they are, or a teacher or a close friend or a family member, or even sometimes just us as parents not knowing what we're saying, other siblings, like really reminding our kids who they are, because this world is so crazy, and social media and voices and everything out there are trying to dictate who supposedly your kid needs to be, who they are or aren't, how they're supposed to behave, how they're supposed to talk, how they're supposed to dress. It's just crazy. So I think it's a big topic. So I thought we could chat about it today.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think, as you and I express, I feel like we say this all the time. But, one thing that we've realized is that without hyper intentionality, then you're going to get results that you don't want. Like there really is. You have to, I don't know, I try to teach even the guys in our Man Maker program that you have to just recognize that you're in a war. Mm-hmm. You really legitimately are in a war. And if you don't like being in a war, you don't get to just sit out of the war. You know what I mean? Like, you are in the war, whether you want to be in a war, whether you want to admit there's a war, whether you want to put your hands over your eyes and over your ears and say, la, 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 I don't want to play, I don't want to participate, you're still in a war. And every kid is in a war. Yeah. And it is a sad thing. It's one of those things where, you and I both have such a high level of like justice as a value. And so I don't really like having to fight against things. It hurts my heart. I'd rather fight for good things versus against bad things. But you see a lot of bad. And you see a lot of things that can go wrong. And some of it, like you said, can be a little bit of just, I think, well-meaning people who don't even know what they're doing and what they're planting in somebody's heart and in their mind that can actually shape their identity. But there is this ongoing machine around us, especially because of social media and screens and everything. Like, it's everywhere. There's noise everywhere. There is programming everywhere. There are people who are masters at trying to get a message pounded into people's subconscious that this is what they do. And so we do. If we're not intentional, where we actually are telling our kids consistently and intentionally who they are, whose they are, what that even means, how do you address when other things are trying to come against who you actually are? If we're not on top of our game, then next thing you know, your kids start believing the wrong things, right?
Yeah, I think if we look back even, and again, I sometimes reflect on how you and I grew up. First of all, we didn't have social media. But what we did have is, teachers or maybe, family friends or, whatever you want to say that felt like they could speak in, even if what they were speaking wasn't positive over us all the time. I mean, I can think of an example for me. I was in class. I must have been in junior high. So 6th, 7th, or 8th grade I was in. And we were all on our desks sitting around, and we were in class and we were reading a story. I don't know why. And everybody had to read like a page or a paragraph, and then it went to the next person to read, and we went through the whole class. So there's probably like 25 kids in my class, right? And my teacher, who was at the head of the table, at the head of the classroom, was one of those strict teachers. Not a lot of like love in her voice, not a lot of love in the way she taught, very just strict. I mean, to get her to smile was like, not to overly explain it, but I went to like a private Catholic school, and she was an ex-nun, okay, that decided she didn't want to be a nun anymore, and then became a teacher, and then now she was teaching us junior hires, okay? So she just had like the strictness about her. Moral of the story was we had her like read all the way through, and it came to me to read out loud my paragraph, and I mispronounced a word. Some people call it a spoon, and I call it a spoon. Like
spoon.
And I call it a spoon. Okay. Like, I'm sure I was nervous, whatever.
Sure.
I remember it like yesterday, and that's how I pronounced it. And in front of like all 25 kids, she stopped and said, "What did you say?" And I repeated it the same way I had said it the first time. And she said to me, "Only unintelligent people speak that way. It's pronounced XYZ." And like, of course, as a junior hire, you're looking around like, I'm about to get like embarrassed. My friends are going to make fun of me. Like, what just happened? Sure. Right. And from there, I was like, as a kid, you're just like, I cannot, what?
So what happened? It just moved on then? She
of course.
Said it and moved on. Okay.
Of course. But it sticks to you like, what teacher would say only unintelligent people? Like, so are you calling me unintelligent? Like, because I mispronounced a word in front of the whole classroom.
Right. Right. And her intention probably
correct
was, I'm going to use this method of embarrassment to try to get you to never talk like that again.
Correct.
And that's how I justify in my own mind that I'm helping you.
Right. Well-meaning maybe.
Yeah.
But not very well at speaking into my...
But it rattled in your brain.
Correct.
Like over and over.
Well, I still remember it at 46 years old.
And over, right?
Correct.
And to the point where probably you thought about it so much, you even started believing it a little bit.
Sure.
Right?
Exactly, because it came from an authority figure in my life.
And you didn't really have anybody to talk to about it, correct?
Right. I mean, I'm sure I brought it home and explained it at the time, but just in general, to process it or to back it up with the truth from the word was not there. Yeah. I did not then go back and say, I'm going to go back to what God tells me I am. It didn't matter if I mispronounced something.
Yeah.
And so I think today, that's what we combated against. Today, what other kids are combating against is not only teachers doing silly things like that, because they're still doing it out there, but parents saying silly things, or siblings saying silly things, or social media saying certain things. Coaches thinking they're funny, thinking they're well-meaning, thinking they're whatever, and then our kids go home and it rattles in their brain, and they start questioning who they really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is such an important topic today, because how many of us as parents are intentionally sitting down and explaining to our kids every day who they are, or teaching them, like, our kids have words that they speak over themselves. I've done it since the day I brought them home when I was rocking them as small infants. And then if they do come home with things like an example like that, or a kid that said, "Hey, you're not good at sports," or, what are you, like, an idiot? Don't you know how to play this? Or all these nasty words, they come back and we know how to intentionally combat it with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the questions today. So what would you suggest parents do in today's world to intentionally combat against this?
Well, I think a lot of it you've mentioned. It's there has to be enough education alone around what identity even means. Because the reality is I was probably in my late 20s starting to read success books for the first time, and I remember reading a book. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was about how powerful your subconscious mind is. And there was a whole section in there about how the reality is if your identity is off, meaning the internal way that you believe of who you are and what you do and how you operate, you have a belief system, right? And it gets molded into you somehow through these different experiences. But at a subconscious level, right? That's the most important part. Whatever you allow to rattle in your brain enough consciously, eventually it sinks into the next level, which is your subconscious, which that's the level that kind of runs on cruise control. You know what I mean? So if over time you started feeling like you were unintelligent, let's say, because you let this thought rattle in your brain, and then something else happened and it kind of reinforced it because it was already there. And next thing you know, you don't even try hard at school because you automatically assume the other smart kids will have this easy and then you'll have a hard time with it. Is it really true? No. But if you believe it's true, then it's true for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, I remember reading about how pretty much how you operate stems from the identity you have and how much you need to protect what your identity is, because otherwise it makes everything hard. Like if I think that I was only born to be an employee and never an entrepreneur. If for some reason I think that, you can bring me every business opportunity that can be like a home run, and I will reject it because I don't have any confidence, because my identity says it doesn't matter how good that is. I bet somebody else is going to crank that thing out, but I won't be able to do it. If you have an identity that says, I'm just, our family, we're all just been broke our whole lives, right? Now, guess what? You'll never even when the promotion comes up, you'll find a way to either mess it up or avoid it because
subconsciously you think you can't handle it.
Because your identity says that that's not who I am. I'm not really supposed to be successful. So I'm not saying this well, but I'm trying to get this out of my mouth. The point is really putting some intentionality into understanding that you get shaped to how you believe about yourself, and that it is actually programmable, right? And that then this puts you on cruise control, and it can either work way against you or work way for you.
That's good.
Because if you actually believe, no, I'm actually designed to be a success. If you believe that, I know I'm an intelligent person. Like I'm a very intelligent person. I can accomplish anything in any kind of class or anywhere else. I might have to put some work into it, but I got this. I got this. You'll go to school different. You'll pass tests differently, right? You will actually sign up for the harder classes more readily. You know what I mean? Like you'll do it because of your internal system. And so you were giving examples, but you started talking. I'm like, I remember first grade teacher, her name was Mrs. Buzzard, right?
You're so good. Greg is one of those people. He remembers every teacher's name. I don't remember hardly any of mine at all. I literally cannot remember my teacher's names. Greg does. And the funny thing is they all remember you. Yeah. They still on Facebook connect with you and everything. You were like well known in their lives too.
Just Miss Wiseman, but
she's so sweet.
She is. But Mrs. Buzzard, first grade teacher, I remember she was really encouraging. And I remember struggling a little bit with some math stuff, some simple math stuff. But I remember her making time. And then I started doing better and doing better. And she always made a big deal about it. She was always just like, oh my gosh, you went from a B to a B plus this week. And oh my gosh, look, you're at A minus now. She's like, everybody, look, Greg's getting A's all the time now. I'll never forget it.
Aww.
And you know what? It literally helped shape my identity that I'm great at math. I've never, ever been afraid of math since first grade.
So good.
Like ever. Because it emotionally was recognized in a way that really, I went home and I would have a smile on my face thinking about how great at math I am. You see what I mean?
So
that was powerful. Then you go to second grade, which is Mr. Martler, right?
Wow, again.
And she was a completely different style. She was a little bit of a negative person. You know what I mean? She wasn't mean or anything, but I do remember her, it was something to do with some form of English. And I remember she had a little bit more of the teacher you were describing, where she didn't put me down, but I do remember her saying, I don't know if English is really your strong suit. Just so you know.
She planted that seed.
Stick to math. You know what I mean? Stick to those kind of things and just shine there. Because I don't know if English is really your strong suit. And I'll tell you what, I think about it and I'm like, I kind of went through all of school thinking, I'm not really good at this anyways. So why should I even try to get good at this? You know,
Shoot.
It's amazing how, like, when you look
So
back,
good.
you're like, whoa.
So good.
And that's just a perfect example, though, of how much the words of other people can really impact you. And see, but here's the thing, and this is trying to answer your question. We'll do a part 2 on this.
Yeah, definitely need to.
But I didn't have anybody saying that I'm intelligent, that I can be good at all subjects, let's say, that I am the kid of a king who is designed for success, that anything I put my hands to shall prosper, as it says in the word. You know, I didn't have anybody who ever taught me what a foundation of identity is. So therefore, if somebody kind of comes against it, then I can evaluate it like, okay, which is real? Instead, you just accept whatever somebody says because no one's taught you anything about identity.
Yeah, that's good.
Make sense? Let's move on to
Okay,
part 2.
I had a thought.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.